Hello, America. Welcome to Culture Club USA. I'm DiBRAVA. In today's episode of the Civil Circus, we'll be riding shotgun with Cenk Uyger and the Young Turks as they discuss a provocative but long-standing question. Do Democrats own the black male vote? Well, President Obama thinks so. Let's dive in.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now,
Whoa. Is former President Barack Obama comparing himself to Kamala Harris? This is interesting. First of all, his demeanor is very, weird. I mean, what happened to the cool Barack who drank the water? You know what I mean? I'm just, he usually has this like Joe Cool type of, persona. You know what I'm saying? He seems a little bit rigid here. Very interesting. Very interesting. I digress.
So when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
What did he just say? I got to bring that back. Hold on.
That seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
This is going to be interesting, guys. He seems really off. Okay, does he even talk like this? I don't recall him speaking like this. This is interesting.
So let's start with Obama's argument for why black men should support Kamala Harris. Take a look.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. And say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. And is putting...
Wait a minute. Not to interrupt him, guys, but he can't be talking about Kamala Harris. He can't be. Is this real what I'm watching? Is he actually comparing these men and how they grew up to Kamala Harris? Is this a joke? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Your Netflix writer? This is really off-kilt. Very off-kilt, especially for Barack Obama. Okay, he must be very nervous. First of all, for him to even be here doing this, okay, the Democratic Party has to be in big, big trouble. They are in big, big trouble. This is a desperation move. Like, what are they scared of exactly? Donald Trump or what he's going to do if he does get in office? This is quite interesting.
Is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers, our fathers, and our grandparents can afford medicine.
First of all, before this even continues, correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, okay? But it took him, Barack Obama, and Michelle a hot minute to endorse Kamala themselves, okay? They didn't endorse her right off the bat. So, like, what is going on here? What is going on?
And now let's watch Obama state why he thinks men aren't supporting Harris because of misogyny. Take a look.
And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
I gotta bring this back. First of all, look at his body language. Like, who is he? Their grandfather? their papa, their uncle. Like, who are you to come up in here with your, you know, doing all this and like you're some king talking to these men in this tone? This is how you get the vote of these men? I don't know about this approach. Look at him. His hands are in his pockets. He's you know, crossing it. Look at this. Look at the, I mean, the body language, the facial expressions. Like, who does he think he is exactly? Very interesting.
Some excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. Anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been in our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you? Because you think that's
a history of denigrating you? Like, okay, hello. These narratives, is he talking about himself? Because what did he do for black men? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. You know, it's so funny what we're watching here because a while back, maybe a month or two, a couple months ago, there was a viral video of men in Chicago, black man in Chicago, talking about how most of them were voting for Donald Trump. Okay? Yeah, it's all starting to crumble. This man right here, this is not normal for him. This is not how he conducts himself. This is not how he behaves. This is not how he talks to people. He's scared. The Democratic Party is scared. They don't, in my opinion, this is a real desperation move. They do not know what Donald Trump is planning on doing if he does get in that presidential seat for a second time. Think about all the things that they have done to President Trump, okay? They're thinking about it. They're thinking about everything they tried, everything, and none of it worked. Now what? What, you think he's just gonna, you know, let bygones be bygones and turn the cheek? I highly doubt it, and I don't think they think that either. Wow.
That's a sign of strength because that's what being a man is. Putting women down? That's not acceptable.
I want to open it up to you guys. Curious how you both feel and about and react to what Obama had to say.
Yeah, I got strong feelings, but Waz, you go first.
I've been probably coming on TYT for like better part of 3 years now, I want to say. Something close to that, maybe even more than that, maybe 4 years now. And I've watched like police shooting clips and all kinds of like racist stuff and all of that. And I don't think I've ever seen a clip that makes my blood boil as much as watching Barry sit up there and lecture black men about why it's their duty to vote for some freaking Democratic Party, you know, basically flack, right? One, I hate just what this guy has. I hate what he stands for. I can't say I hate the guy. I don't know him. But just this idea that he's the all-knowing, he's the smart, noble genius. And, you know, we don't know any better. We needed the direction from the great Barack Obama because people are not smart enough, particularly black people, aren't smart enough to realize that he did nothing for anybody while he was up there. He talks about, in the beginning of that clip, he talked about it's not the same enthusiasm hasn't been turnout like when he was running in his campaign. Maybe he should stop and think that that's his fault. Like his administration was a failure for these same people that he claims it's their duty to vote for Kamala Harris. Like, it's crazy that doesn't even dawn on this dude that part of the reason people don't care is because you failed this specific demographic. So this idea that you need to come out now and go test.
I gotta interrupt this. I'm in utter shock right now. Utter shock. Because this is the Young Turks, right? I mean, wow. Now, here's the thing. You think Barack Obama doesn't know that multiple people, thousands, God knows how many, feel the exact same way this young man does? Oh, boy, you are in trouble. See, what I want to know is this. For Barack Obama to show up like some authoritor, okay, and tell these black men that they don't know what they're doing and that they need to start listening to him, and like just like what this man is saying right here, okay, there must be some hidden file. There must be some kind of secrets that are going to come out. There must be some trouble ahead, not only for him, but for Hillary, for Joe, okay? I mean, what is going on here? What is going on here? Why would Barack Obama even really care at this point? You're done. You've been out how many years? You're going on 8 years gone. You're done. You're making Netflix movies. You're a documentarian now. You and Michelle are, part of the real elites now. Your loans are paid off from college. You're over in Martha's Vineyard with the high and mighty. What do you care about what is actually going on? You mean to tell me that you care that much about Kamala Harris? No, you care about the fact that Kamala Harris is not going to prosecute you, not going to come after you or any of your friends or the people around you, okay, if she gets in that office. You know that there's a massive chance that Donald Trump will. After everything that you've done to him, the Democratic Party, including Barack Obama, come on. Wow. People are starting to see through it, and the media they've lost control. They've lost control. Because there's too many YouTubers, too many shows, too many people with cell phones, too many things, too many people out here giving alternative information to the citizens, the voters, aside from the mainstream media, which people like Barack Obama control. They're scared. Wow.
And go tisk. How could you ever not vote for the Dems, our sister Kamala Harris? You must be some crazy misogynist or self-hating Negro. It's absurd. And it's in line with a greater theme in the Democratic Party when they don't get things done, when they don't win electorally. It's no different than Hillary talking about it was the Russian bots and all of these other excuses and misogyny that didn't get her elected. The Democratic Party somehow wants us to believe that they themselves can never fail. They can only be failed by deplorables and black men who don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. It's not that they should be courting the votes of these people. It's not that they should be going out and making an affirmative case for themselves and then sitting and looking in the mirror as to why somebody might not want to get up and vote for some Democratic politician just because they're black. No, it's that like these people are failing the godly and saintly Democrats. It's absurd.
Wow. Oh, my Lord. They are in trouble.
So I want to look. I'm going to give you numbers and receipts in a second that prove that you're right, Waz. But let me make your blood boil a little bit more, because whenever anybody says something like what you just said, they'll say, "Oh, so you're supporting Trump?" What do you say to that, Waz?
And if I were, and if somebody is okay, and what? Yes, I'm supporting Trump. Like, what was so great about supporting Barry and his bank bailouts and his indiscriminate drone war? What was so great about that? What was so great about his cozy ass administration with Wall Street? What was so amazing about that? Black home ownership, black wealth plummeted under this guy's administration. And I'm not talking about all Americans. Like, what was so great about the alternative? That's what I would say to them. What's so awesome about voting for Democrats? Specifically the Obama and Harris brand of establishment, corporatist as hell Democrats. What's so great about it?
Yeah, but you're not voting for Trump.
No, come on, man. Give it a rest, man.
Okay, so look.
What? Oh, I'm so lost. I am so lost. What is wrong with people? I'm so lost right now. He just said all that, but he's not going to vote for Trump. So who are you voting for, Kamala? There's no other alternative here. I mean, okay, this is where the stupidity just boggles my mind. I can't understand it. How could he have said all of that, okay, and then said, no, he's not voting for Trump? So by not voting, you're basically voting for Kamala. I mean, what are we doing here? This makes no sense, no common sense. So just because you want to be in a clique still called the Democratic Party and the Cenk Uyger, you know, gang, you're not going to vote for Donald Trump? Wow. Ignorance. That's ignorance. Plain and simple. I'm sorry.
Now, let me give you the numbers. So look, on the one hand, I understand that Kamala Harris is not doing as well. It's just a little bit of a difference, but a little bit of a difference could make a big difference in the swing states, et cetera. Not doing as well with black male voters as she is with black female voters. And then there are potentially positive ways to handle that, right? And in fact, we always give constructive critique, so I'll tell you how I would handle it in a second. But I don't think that the way that they're handling it is constructive. I agree with Waz. So it's one thing for Barack Obama to come out and be this, you know, the person leading the effort to bring black male voters in. There's logic in that, and there's a reason why they asked him to do it and not someone else, right? But the way that he lectured them, yeah, it was super uncomfortable. It felt like lecturing and shaming. And Nina Turner makes a great point. Oftentimes when Democrats do this, the next stage of this is after they lose the election, then they turn around and blame them. And go, the black male vote cost us. It's their fault. No, listen to Waz. You have to earn their vote. That sense of entitlement is maddening, okay? So, but let me show you the numbers as to why this idea that black males are leaving the Democratic Party because they're sexist is wrong. Because we had another woman run for president against Donald Trump. That was back in 2016, Hillary Clinton. So what was the vote back then? Hillary Clinton won 81% of the black male vote in 2016. Donald Trump only won 14%. Okay, now how are they doing today? Well, black male voters who think Harris would make a good president is down to 66%, and percent of black male voters who think Trump would make a good president is up to 21%. So what happened? Did black males get more sexist in these last 8 years? No, of course not. It's not about, look, I'm not saying that there's no sexist guys out there that are not going to vote for a female president. Of course there are, right? Are they largely in the other party? Of course, right? I'm not saying there aren't any Democrats that it affects, but that's not the thing moving these numbers. The thing that's moving these numbers is lack of delivery to this group.
No, the thing that's moving these numbers is common sense. We're talking about a woman who has been the vice president for 4 years. We don't need to vet her because she's been vetted. She's been the VP for 4 years. What has she done? Absolutely nothing. Look at the mess this country is in. Is this a joke? Now, the shocking thing that I will say about what I just heard out of his mouth is that he is admitting that that was extremely inappropriate and uncomfortable. What we saw former President Barack Obama say and do, okay, at that, wherever they are, whatever is going on here, okay, this rally. I mean, really? Who do you think you are? He is a global elite. Global elite. We need these people gone. We need someone who is for the people, okay? This is why President Trump is liked and loved, because he actually cares about the people. And during his presidency, he's proven that, okay? These people, not so much.
And so what are they looking for? Are they looking for extra rights? No, they're looking for the same thing everybody is. Jobs, better paying jobs, higher wages, better health care.
Yeah, and they had all of that with President Trump. Better jobs, better economy, better wages, health care. I mean, hello, wake up. Wake up. Health care? What do you mean health care? This is the Obama health care that Obama put in. Are you nuts? Look, come on. Give me a break.
For you to take care of the average American. So that's what they're getting frustrated by. And we don't agree with that, hey, you get so frustrated, you turn to Trump. because that's not going to help you at all. It's going to make it worse. We understand that. The great majority of black male voters understand that, right? But they're saying, yes, but
that makes no sense. This is what I mean when I say that these people on the left, they just say anything, whether it makes sense or not. That literally makes no sense. Makes no sense. Think about that. What is the alternative here? Makes no sense.
How many times am I going to vote for you? So last time, I mean, if you just look at issues that are considered more African-American, that's already a bit absurd. But in this case, I get it. Voting rights, right? Well, you didn't deliver on that either. You didn't even try to deliver on that. Manchin said no, and you said, yes, sir, of course, sir. And you didn't think it was a big deal. Oh, well, filibuster, there's nothing we can do. Do you know that they got rid of the filibuster to allow the cap on our debt to go up? Why? Because if they didn't, that would have affected the stock market, and it would have affected rich people. So when it affects...
You mean rich people like the Obamas? With all their Netflix money and stocks and bonds and all of that stuff, and Hillary and Nancy Pelosi and her husband and all his wealth and stocks and bonds and their Martha's Vineyard house. Those rich people, those wealthy people, like you, Cenk, like you, because you're also one of them.
Rich people, the filibuster is irrelevant. When it affects voting rights or health care or wages, all of a sudden, oh, filibuster. And so at this point, people are saying, how often am I going to take your lies and say, thank you, sir, right? So having Barack Obama, now enormously elite, come and lecture black male voters about how they're the sexist ones and they need to do better, that is not the correct strategy. It does not say, well, you see it in the reaction that was had. So I do, as I promised that I would be constructive. So one quick thing here, guys.
He's going to be constructive. I can't wait to hear this. I can't wait to hear this. I mean, let's see what his constructive criticism is here. Let's see.
Even if you're concerned about that demographic and you want to improve the numbers there, a very legitimate goal. Moving the numbers in any demographic is a legitimate goal. I mean, you could put it in a completely positive way so they don't feel like you're talking down to them and blaming them, et cetera. And so you can say, hey, listen, how many times have black women delivered for us? And you could make it personal if you're Barack Obama. They helped to put me in office, right? And how many times have they delivered in our lives? Not necessarily black women, just women, right? And so let's do our turn. I love being a community. I love...
What in God's name does this have to do with being a freaking woman? I cannot take it any longer. Again, what is this? Now the presidency is a DEI hire too? Are you nuts? Are you nuts? Why are we voting for anyone based on their gender? Okay, excuse me. Excuse me. This is absurd. This is absurd. This is just as bad as putting female pilots in charge of flights and airlines that are not as qualified as males just because they're female. We're not voting in a president because she's a black woman or whatever she claims to identify as. Indian, black, I don't care what it is, okay? We don't vote based on gender or race. Give me a break. When people voted for Obama, they actually thought that he was gonna do good for the country. Now, he proved very different. Give me a break. He's a great politician. Let's be real here. That's why they voted for him as the first black president. He was a great politician. That first time around, I mean, he could sell, milk to a cow. Now, what he did, especially on the second term, that's a whole other conversation. Give me a break. This is ridiculous.
Working together. So let's all work together. They had our back, let's have their back, etc. Put a positive spin on it instead of like pointing your finger or wagging your finger at them. Why are you so sexist? If all of the, I don't know, okay, last thing here, I'm curious about what both of you guys think. I think that if all black male voters heard that message, they would lose more voters than they would gain. What do you think, Was?
Yes, I think anybody who watched Barry lecture people about why they should be ashamed of themselves if they don't vote for Kamala Harris is insane. And then another thing that folks got to realize that doesn't really get talked about. Barry and his campaign in 2008 and 2012, they put together one of the legitimately impressive grassroots organizing situations that the country has ever seen.
Yeah, they also, put together Hillary and spying on, President Trump's campaign and all that too. Let's not forget all the other things that they've done, which is why Barack Obama is showing up and starting to talk at people because he is afraid, okay? They are afraid. Hillary has got to be pooping her pants right now, basically. All the stuff she's done, are you kidding me? The emails, the this, the that. I mean, there is so much dirt around these people in particular. Not just the Democratic Party, these people in particular. Barack Obama, his entire campaign, Joe Biden, for God's sake. I mean, there's a laundry list with him. I mean, his son, Hunter Biden? Are you kidding me? Ukraine, this, that, Hillary, Russiagate, spying, the emails. I mean, shall I go on? I mean, this is not just about voting for somebody because they have hot sauce in their bag. Okay, this is ridiculous. It's insulting to all communities. They should be ashamed of themselves. Go away already. Move on, but they can't because they know they're going to be in trouble. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. There's absolutely no way that President Donald Trump, in my opinion, and this is just my humble opinion, is going to get in office and let them go a second time free. And not happening. No, not after what they did. No. 4 years in court and all this, not happening. You're done. You're in trouble. That's why they've tried to even, in my opinion only, kill him. Even that didn't work.
Legitimate work in terms of on the ground, knocking on doors. This thing was a movement. Both of his campaigns were movements. And as soon as he got reelected, he just threw it in the trash. So this idea that same Obama campaign, that Obama coalition isn't no longer there to support Kamala. Well, Barry, you were the one that threw it in the trash. You wanted nothing to do with grassroots organizing anymore. And I think he's been unmasked since he left the office, man. All this guy wants to do is be a movie producer, TV show producer. You know the Julia Roberts joint where there was a black freaking banker who was like a conductor in the Philharmonic. That's what he wants to do. He wants to produce movies that basically burnish his own identity as a black elite and how great they are. He wants to get, hundreds of millions of dollars from Jeff Bezos to, build a personal shrine to himself called the Presidential Library. That's who he is. He's not out there doing anything for or with normal everyday people. He's done. He just wants to be on Martha's Vineyard, be rich as hell, hobnob with Hollywood people, and just be a celebrity. And then, every 4 years he gets to parachute in and lecture the plebes, lecture the poors about how stupid they are for not just going with whatever cockamamie plan the Democrats spring on people without actually courting these folks and explaining to them, this is why our administration is going to be great, despite the fact we sold you same people on the idea that a candidate's blackness in the highest office was going to make things so much better for you, sold that idea, and did not deliver. You were a complete and utter failure for black people. He failed them. There's no other way to put it. So for this guy to parachute in, fresh off of this big ass yacht in Martha's Vineyard and come tell people you're so sexist if you don't love Kamala Harris, it's insanity, guys.
You know what? Hold on. I take all that I said back. You know what? I take it back. I take it back. I didn't give this kid credit. I did not give that man enough credit. He's not voting for Kamala. He's voting for Trump. He's just not saying it. There's no way on earth he is not voting for Donald Trump. There's just no way on earth. He's not an idiot, okay? He's voting for Trump. Trust me, I'd bet on it.
Yeah, I think we're at a time now where you have a prolonged news cycle around Ta-Nehisi Coates' new book. And the interviews are contentious, especially the CBS one, because he talks about how he sees the fight for Palestinian liberation as an intersectional fight, and struggles for liberation are connected. And I'm sure that's not the only reason that some Black men are not supporting Kamala Harris, but I think it wouldn't be a surprise if that's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons they might not be.
First of all, he's voting for Donald Trump too. He just looks like he rolled off the golf course at Mar-a-Lago. Who's he kidding? I'm just joking, guys. I mean, really though. This is like, I can't even believe this guy's on Cenk Uyger's show. I can't believe he's on the Young Turks, not him, the other gentleman. Speaking like this about Barack Obama, I mean, he loathes him. There's no way he's not voting for Trump. Don't worry, he's voting for Trump.
The many reasons they might not be. And I think for him to come in and say, hey, after, to your point was, he doesn't just parachute in for the general, he will parachute in for the primary as well. It's what he did in 2020 to make sure Biden got the nomination, so Bernie didn't, after Bernie was gaining steam in the first few states. So he will do it to preserve the status quo. And the issues that both of you laid out, how has that changed? How has that materially and significantly improved the lives of anybody, especially Black men in this country, over the past 12 years? Maintaining the status quo has not worked for them. And if they're disillusioned by the system, if they're cynical, it's not that they're stupid and don't recognize the risks. I think that's insulting. They certainly recognize the risks, but they don't want to be part of the game. They don't want to be part of this, emotional cudgel that they're using. Like, oh, well, you're a misogynist if you don't support her. Would you say the same thing if they didn't support Nikki Haley? Is that why they didn't like Nikki Haley? Like, come on, what are we doing here? It's a lazy attack. It doesn't work. People see right through it. But also, I can't help but notice he's doing this to what looks to be a campaign office with just maybe a dozen Black men who are on staff. Maybe there's more behind the cameras. I can't tell. But this isn't at some rally. This isn't out in public. This isn't at a publicly facing event. I would like to see how that line to a larger crowd of Black men would be received. I'm genuinely curious, because I just don't think many people would like that.
No, they wouldn't, because they would be booing him. That's why he had to do it there. This is not a rally. I mean, I said that, I'm like, what is this? I don't know what this is. He's in an office, so you went to a campaign office and told them this? Barack Obama himself, and I'm just talking about Barack Obama right now, he is freaking out. He is extremely nervous, extremely scared, okay? That's why he's showing up and doing what he's doing. That's why his body language is coming across that way. That's why he's lecturing people the way he is, okay? He doesn't want to lose his elite status, okay? He doesn't want to be in court. He doesn't want to have to be exposed for all the things that he's done and everything, the campaign, and him from all the way from his campaign, all the way through Joe Biden. I mean, come on, Hillary and everybody else and all the things that he was involved in. Okay? They don't want to be exposed. They're scared because in the back of their minds, they're realizing that nothing that they have done to Trump has done a thing. None of it worked. Down to the court, the accusations, any of it. None of it has worked. The rhetoric in the media, it's not working. People are seeing through the rhetoric. They are looking at the state of the country and saying, this is ridiculous. What are we, just pawns in a chess game of the elite? Because that's what it is. And he doesn't want to have to leave his house on Martha's Vineyard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's looking good for Trump right now. That's all I'll have to say. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Civil Circus. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. I'm DiBRAVA.